Hello and Allahu Akbar. Time, my friends, is 11:25. Today is Monday, 28th of the May. Well, I try to push to finish this as soon as I can. I will be busy with a lot of chores pretty soon. So we're getting into in some areas of this Mathnavi that are very interesting and important. Baha'u'llah here in these lines, it talks about the residence of God. Where's God living, really? I mean literally. Because of the way He is. He's totally not material. He has such a subtlety, it could just be in a certain place, certain existence He has. We hear these things in the Sufis and all that, but they were all conjectures. Here Baha'u'llah unraveled the fact and says where He lives. So first of all, he starts like this. He says, "Chun ze hubbash beit u ma'mur shod." Chun, when, ze, from, hub is equal to the same word as ishq. Ishq means love, so is hub. Hub, both of them are Arabic words. Hubbash, she means a pronoun, his hub, so his love. When of his love, Beit-u. Beit means the house, really. Even the house of justice is called Beit-adl. Beit means the house. So, when from his love, his Beit. Beit means this house. Beit-u means his house. Ma'mur shod. This ma'mur, it's an Arabic word, means built or repaired, either way you like to call it. Sometimes there's a heart, that heart has to be repaired, or sometimes you have to say the house is being built. So he says that with the love of God is like a mortar, it's like a brick. As you love God, which again means loving His manifestation because He's not around, or what we can understand or transmit from Him in wherever He is in this earth is through His manifestation. Previously Jesus, Moses and Muhammad, and today Baha'u'llah. So by knowing Baha'u'llah and gradually finding love for Him, which means then we have to know who He was, how He lived, and what He said. It's very important. And in order to clearly know Him, one of the ways is to find out who were His followers and those who martyred. These were high-class intellectual people, and rich sometimes too. They just left everything. Then we know how, the level of His existence, who He is, because nobody else in the planet exists so far, that so many people put their life on for Him. Love of their life, their children's life, their family, their everything. So once we know Him, we start to love Him, and His love also comes by actually acting upon what He says to us. Because if you love somebody, then you listen to that person, and His words are totally pleasant to you, and what He wants, you just like to fulfill for Him. So once we understand that love, by loving Him, His house starts to be built and gets repaired. So love towards Baha'u'llah and acting upon Him, He starts to build His house. Baha'u'llah talks very elusive here. He says, "U be beitu mastur shod." U means here He, God. Betu, beit. He to the Beit means he went to the Beit. O and Beiteu, his Beit, O means him. Mastur should. Mastur means becomes hidden. Mastur should. Became hidden. Mastur. You don't know where it is. So since once you built his house, now his house is built. God goes to in his house. And then his house becomes hidden. Well, a lot of people they can speculate what it means. My approach is always intellectual, scientific, logical, not just simple. Comes out of my heart. So, and then he explains this Beit is actually the heart of the human being. So if we build our love to God, and out of this love for him, like a brick and the mortar, his house is built and he gets into his house, and now his house becomes hidden. Very simple. How many people of God that we know in the history of mankind have been actually recognized in their own time? None. One of these people is Jesus Christ, never recognized. A few people. So many others were after him, they were not recognized. It just seems that the moment God goes in his heart, in the heart of a man, which is his house, the house becomes hidden. People would recognize a fellow who is a big politician, great philosophers, whatever damn thing is, if it is at the present time. But when the issue gets out of time, when love comes in, love is not a timely matter. A million years ago and a million years from now, love acts the same way because it's not material, therefore it does not work with time. I've explained that before. There are two ways that we as a human being change things, or we can expect to change things. One is using time. We sometimes let some things stay in the farm and it'll grow. Becomes, some fruits. Or something else we don't want it, we just let it go and it dies out. There's another way, besides time, that we could, a mechanism, we could do that. What would that be? I don't want to ask you questions. I'm sure if you think you would find it. The second way that we can change things around is by willpower. We will to do something. We decide it and go there and change it. We have to will it. It's not an issue of time. And when will comes, the matter then is not a matter of time. You use will. When we die, there's only will. There's no time. We have to will it to happen. So, and when some matter becomes in will, such as love, such as God, then usually people in time, they miss the power of will. That's the way it is. So why his house becomes hidden, the heart of those who have God in themselves, they're always hidden people. People don't know them. In fact, of the matter, if you say things of the truth and everybody followed you, and accepted you, they start to doubt yourself. But if people didn't accept you and they didn't recognize you, it's because you are outside of their time. And that's how God works. If he wants something to happen 50 years from now, then he brings a boss now. Why? Because people of the time, they always deny. So if I come 50 years from now, they would deny me anyways. So since I know that's how people work, that's the way their attitude is, their behavior is, they just are like this. So God, since he's intending people 50 years from now to know, then he brings a bus, so then they find out, oh, okay. It's just the way people are, you know. Their heroes are always dead. When would that get fixed for the general public? As Persians say, when the sugar cane flowers, means, you know, never. So, the nature of the house of God is the heart that comes out of his love, and once the house is built, he gets into his house, and the person who carries God within him is usually hidden. People don't know him. Then he explained Baha'u'llah, he says, Bayt'u as-sangogel nabad bedan. Bayt'u, his house as from sang, stone, and o, gel, mud. Nabad is not, bedan, understand. Understand that his house is not from the stone and flour. So, even the Baha'is, we say house of God, you know, is not, he says. This is the social place that we like to build, you know, even Mash'al Askar that we built as a house of God. It's not really. Or Muslim, they go to Mecca, they call it house of God. Baytullah. Baytullah means the house of God. Baha'u'llah says it's not from the mud and a stone. It's not, he says. Bayt'u, his house, juz, except del, heart, nabashad, is not. O javan, lad. He probably talks to you and me. He says, oh lad. Javan means young man, a lad. My lad, his house is nothing but the heart. So this is a big issue that we have, you know. And don't try to have these things in your future. Oh, my wish is to build a big, huge Baha'i temple and this and that. It's cliche. Please, let go of it. Don't worry about it. People do these things anyways. Let's just have a lot of people come into the Baha'i faith, if that's what we can do. You know, do not try to materialize the material into another material form. Try to formalize the people to come into the Baha'i faith. Think about it. Don't think they're not capable of. All the Canadians are Baha'i, all the Australians are Baha'i, all the English people are Baha'i, all the Americans are Baha'i, all the New Zealanders are Baha'i, German people are Baha'i, French people are Baha'i. Many of the world, Indians are all Baha'i. We haven't reached them yet. See, being a Baha'i is relative. So his heart is, I'm telling you that, it is, he says his house is heart. Now this is certified word of Baha'u'llah, know it. Try to think this, don't take this as a philosophy, take it literal. God cannot be anywhere except in your heart. When you feel it, he's there. And you feel so kind, you know. Especially when the person's been bad to you, but you show kindness. As soon as you do heart, you feel God. That is God, okay? So this house of God is a story, just leave it. I went to Arizona, in Page, Arizona. I went to Navajo's reservations, and this young man showed me a house. It was all these nines and this, trying to explain it to me, and I told him, yes, this is in the Navajo's prophecy, and that prophecy has been fulfilled. There is, I said, such a 9 and such a 12, feathers and all that are there. So he took me to Antelope Canyon, a canyon carved out of the nature. I told him, this is the temple of God. Because nature of God has made it, man is not involved in this. Okay? Wind, water, or rain, they're all God's worker. To put it together. I feel God here. I said, you know. Well, it's natural. I felt that's the temple of God. This Mash'al Askar Baha'i temple we built is for the social issues. Of course, you can go and pray and feel spiritual. There's no problem. Baha'u'llah says you may go and pray there. But to call it the house of God, Baha'u'llah says no. The house of God is the heart, and that's all the end of it. So he says, چون که قلبت پاک شد از نور او, when your heart cleansed from his light. Our heart is dirty. That's why it says ma'mur, repair it. It needs the light to get into it, to get this dirt out of it. This light is love. Loving, giving a compensation to the person that does not deserve. Those people in jail, they don't know you. Go visit them. Show kindness to the people that they do not know you, and they will not know you. See which one has caused problem for you. Go show love towards him. If he gets embarrassed, don't show it, but do it somehow that he doesn't know it's you. The more hidden it is, the more godly it becomes. Just watch to see what kind of an energy comes into you. You're stressed, do it. You're distressed, do it. You're afraid, do it. You have a lot of trouble, do it. Just cleanse it. The power comes in. So, we need a light, which is love of God, the light, to clean up the heart. Then he says, شد مقامش چون که آمد طوره. Should became his station. Maqam means a station. Became his station. چون که when it came his Tur. Tur means Sinai. In the past, we know Moses went to Sinai. God came in the burning bush and said, I am here. So Moses met God, that's according to the Bible. This is the story anyways. Met God on Sinai. So Baha'u'llah says that Sinai is the heart. Once it's cleansed, it becomes a station. God will come right there. Now, it is there, but is it permanently there? Sometimes it's there, not all of there. So he goes on. He says, چون که when بیت الله عاشق شد تمام, when Baytullah, the house of God, Bayt means house, means of, Allah means God, Baytullah. When the house of God, of the lover, so the house of God is in the lover's heart. When the house of God, of the lovers, shot tamam, became complete. So, when the lover's house of God became complete, جلوه معشوق, the beauty of the beloved, the showing, the effulgence, that full light. When something is doing jelve, just comes, blooms. Jelve ma'shuq, the beauty of the beloved, which is God, Ahmad came bardavam, continuously. It became continuous now. Once the house is built, God doesn't come in and out. He'll just go there, it stays there forever. It's just going to be there all the time. It's going to be his house now. He is now the brain, the order. So, what it reality means for us people is that, I've explained this before, I'm just going to maybe have to tell you very quickly again. We have many selves. When we say I, me, myself, you're talking the combination of all your material. Imagine if I put all your material on the table, exact equal to what it is you have, that will not be you. And if it is you even, it will rot in about an hour. What is stopping it? One self stops this. That self is called vegetable self. Not only it is put together properly, but he will come and accordingly sends the liquid in and out, food in and out, keep this body not to rot, sustain it. That's the vegetable spirit. That's yourself. Now, this vegetable self, which is not rotting now, the machine is not rotting, now he puts another program, installs on it, God. This is an animal program. Out of vegetations with the body, it makes an eyes and ears. Now you can hear. That's where the animal self comes. It can hear, it can see, it can hear. It has all the instinct. Okay. And over this, of course, there's another program installed. It's the human. It's not just to eat or just have sex, but you have to have love and a proper place to eat, because spirit of man doesn't eat, doesn't have sex. He wants connection to the heart. The soul wants to meet the soul. As the two souls, they go together, their body collides, it becomes sex. The idea was those two souls, they come together. Just like kissing your beloved behind a window, behind the glass. You kiss the glass. Are you kissing the glass or kissing her? You're kissing her, but the glass is in between. Sex comes in between the real love. When the two souls are meeting, their spirit mixes, their body gets together. That is what the real sex should be, the manifestation of the spiritual, act. You gotta love that person so much. You're trying to get the soul really, not the body, but body, gets together. So, that is clear. So we know the spirit of human. We heard also the Holy Ghost, the soul of Baha'u'llah, the soul of Christ. In between the soul, the Holy Ghost, and the soul of man, there is another installation. In the Baha'i faith, we call it the spirit of faith. An state which you are not exactly like people, but you're not exactly the prophet of God either. You are in between. You become a copy of the manifestation of God. He's the original, you become a copy. As if he's standing in his palace, you become a TV and an internet. On your computer, you show his picture. You can see the picture of Baha'u'llah in his believers, on their complete full believers. They seem exactly like him. They give the same impression to you. So the entire story of the religion is the installation of new self, that 99.99 0.99 of the people do not have it. They have even no clue what it is. But the entire story of the religion to come and tell you that, hey mister, you're not just a vegetable, just an animal, just as a human. You have another self to you. You have to activate that. If you do, it's just like your computer subscribing to the internet. You get connected to God. Your little computer now is connected to ocean. Everything God is, you know. If they ask you a question, you answer every question. So, when he says, Jelve ma'shuq amad bar davam, the effulgence and the beauty of the lover comes continuously, incessantly. That's it. That installation. That's what it means. It doesn't mean that we will become like Baha'u'llah. No. We shouldn't even want to be. Some people decided, they say, oh, we're the successor of the Bab, or we're the manifestation. Baha'u'llah says, oh, I am the Atlantis, keeping the whole universe on my shoulder. Do you want to do my job? Go right at it. No qualm. But they go and they find out how difficult it is. They can't do it. It's impossible. But we can, as I said, become a copy of it. So that is all what it means. That God comes to your heart. You have to use the love like a brick to build it up, which means you have to keep doing all the Baha'i activity. At this day of age, I tell you that you're blessed because you can get engaged in teaching. Every time you start to teach, you put a turbo engine on the construction of it. The house will be built, God will come in, all your fear will go away, and you're just out of this world. You know, you're no longer a possessor. You don't want to be. When they tell you possess material, it's such a shameful thing. It's an insult to you. You know, so I'm using it, but I'm not possessing it. How can I possess something? It's like you're in the train, and then they tell you that you possess the train. So, excuse me, what plane? I'm not possessing nothing here. I'm just going to get down soon. But they're claiming you're possessing. You say, are you crazy? I can't own any of this train or any of this plane. I'm here, sitting to go. That's what your feeling would be about the material. I hate the damn thing's possession. You know, maybe just money, but nothing else. I don't want nothing else to own. Okay. So, and finally, at this point he says, باز عشق آمد حجاب عقل سوخت. باز means again. Again عشق آمد. Love came. حجاب عقل سوخت. Hijab, the veil of wisdom burned. Wisdom is a veil. When love comes, burns it away. Hip, kharman irfan. Kharman means the hip, like if you're in a farm industry, you know, when there's a big, huge heap of wheat, Persian they call that kharman. It says that the hip of irfan, understanding, of ilm, of science, of fazl, which means again grace and knowledge, burned. Love comes and burns all of these things away. Well, this is also a huge issue among the Sufis. They have no idea what the hell they're talking about. As is, you know, even you are familiar with the writing, it seems that love and, you know, wisdom, they have a fighting between them, you know, going on. Actually, in the Baha'i faith, it's not like that. Abdu'l-Baha clearly says, the more of a wisdom is there, the greater is the demonstration of love. This aql that we're talking about, that love comes and burns it away, or this irfan, Sufi's understanding, mystic understanding, or ilm or fazl, you know, is not literally the knowledge or the science. Love, when it comes, the love towards God, it automatically brings nothing but science, nothing but understanding, nothing but knowledge. But the previous knowledge of the past, it is going to be burned away. Muslims have a lot of knowledge about what Mi'raj is, what Sufism is, tons of ideas they knew. Bob says, you read all of that. For what? So that when I come you understand me, isn't it? We're not talking the knowledge of physics or chemistry, we're talking the knowledge of religion. What is all these books that you wrote? He says to one of them that he has written, I don't know, 35 volumes. He says all of this knowledge was what? Is that when the promised one comes, you recognize it. Did you? No. Then what do we say about your knowledge? It all burned away. Because you had no heart. You had no heart. It wasn't because of the love of God that you went and learned of this knowledge. Because of making yourself superior to other people, finding a way to rule over them, finding a reason, tell them you are stupid, I'm knowledgeable. This is why you went and got all this knowledge. A means to differentiate yourself from others. You were looking for superiority. That knowledge will be burned away when God shows up. Because the whole intention of it was not out of the love of God. So this issue that, you know, a man in love has no wisdom, that's a total blasphemy. A lover shows a wisdom that all other wisdoms of other people in front of him is no good, nothing. His wisdom, his knowledge is unique. He's not borrowing from other people. It's original. When he brings this stuff, it's new. No one had written previously in any book. And those that were written, when he comes out, burns it away. Because the essentiality is that heart that God has to go into it. If that happens, and that is the order of the priority, then what is the point of knowledge? What is the point of all this stuff that we know about the religion, about this and that? To do what? A spirituality is a shortcut to the knowledge. Baha'u'llah says you can go learn all the books you want to know, all the things you want to know. Also, we could just lock all these books and say that I don't want to learn nothing. I'm just going to be a good person and a good Baha'i, and I'm going to go teach what people don't know. If I know anything, because they ask me to let them to know, I just give them the books to read. So if you create that quality and attributes in you, which by teaching probably a barrage of them comes in you, you will automatically become brave, you become giving, you become generous, all kind of things. I've already said that. This is the invention of Baha'u'llah. Teaching. As you do, you gain so much of the spiritual money, which are all his attributes. You get recompense. Your need is spiritual. As a result, you create an understanding and things that's completely different. That's what Seven Valleys is. You searching, you fall in love, you understand. But it's not knowledge, it's understanding. You understand. You see? Anyways, what time is it? I gotta watch, it's getting 12 o'clock. So, therefore, the so-called wisdom, intellectuality, and science, knowledge, pertains to the religion only. Such knowledge, if it does not serve your heart to be clean, of course it's no use. Of course it's useless. Of course when the heart is cleansed and God comes in, it's going to burn it all away. Isn't it? Makes sense. Very well, time is 12. Oh, I don't know. I have to go to work tomorrow. It's such a blessing at my age. I can still work, isn't it? That's good. Okay, see you.